We're back with a few more examples, or a couple more at least, with some polynomial arithmetic, and I've defined 3 polynomials this time. And the first thing I would like to do is let us explore polynomial number 1 times polynomial number 2. What does that guy look like? So the essence of this is that we are going to multiply everything from polynomial 1, every term, by every term in polynomial number 2. So let me start by writing it out. Here's my 2x squared minus 7x minus 15 times x minus 5 is polynomial number 2. And so I like to draw little arrows, at least this helps me visualize what I'm doing here. Starting with the 2x squared, I've got to multiply this by the other terms in the other polynomial. Then I'm going to go on to my negative 7x, multiply that by the other terms in the other polynomial. And then I'll go on to the negative 15 and multiply that by the other terms in the other polynomial. So as you can see, every term from one polynomial gets multiplied by every term in the other polynomial. And that's how we do polynomial multiplication. So let's see how all this comes out. So far, with the 2x squared times those two guys, this gives me 2x cubed. And I get a minus 10x squared next. And that's it from the first two guys. Negative 7x times these two guys gives me a negative 7x squared. And I'm going to go ahead and line that up right here. So I'm going to go ahead and start writing things vertically. I think it's a nice way to organize. Negative 7x times negative 5 is positive 35x. So I'll put that here, positive 35x. All right, and then negative 15 times x is negative 15x. That would line up with this guy. Negative 15 times negative 5 is positive 75, right, plus 75 here. And then I'll just draw a big line here. And I'm essentially now just combining the like terms. So I'm going to bring down my 2x cubed. Doesn't have any like terms. Negative 10x squared minus 7x squared is negative 17x squared. 35 minus 15 gets me down to 20, positive. So I got a positive 20x there. And plus 75 there in the end. That doesn't combine with anything else. And there's my final result. P1 times P2 is 2x cubed minus 17x squared plus 20x plus 75. And that wasn't too bad. And I think you might see the benefit there, as I do, of lining it up vertically. But you don't have to do it that way. OK, so let's take a look at another one. How about P1 times P3? That looks even uglier. And indeed, it is. Let's see how that comes out. See if we even have enough space to do that. Times P3. All right, so I'm going to give me a 2x squared minus 7x minus 15. 7x minus 15 there, times x cubed minus 2x minus 1. And every term from this gets multiplied by every term from that guy. So the 2x squared times all these guys. All right, and then the negative x, or negative 7x, excuse me, times all these guys. And then 15 negative times all of these fellows. Okay, and if you add sound, it's also extra awesome. Okay, let's go ahead and fill it in and see what this starts to look like. So 2x squared times all of those things gives me a 2x to the 5th for the first term, minus 4x cubed for the second term, and then minus 2x squared for the third term. Negative 7x times all those things gives me a negative 7x to the 4th. And I don't see a place to match that up. So I'm going to put over here negative 7x to the fourth. The next one, negative 7x times negative 2x is positive 14x squared, which lines up with this. Okay. And then negative 7x times negative 1 is positive 7x, which also doesn't currently line up with anything, so I'll just stick it over there. Negative 15 times all those things gives me a negative 15x cubed, which lines up with this one. Negative 15x cubed. All right. Next one gives me a 30x, so I'll put a plus 30x over here. And then lastly, plus 15. Do we have any numbers yet? No. And combine the like terms, and that's it. So let's bring down my 2x to the 5th power, no like terms. Negative 4x cubed minus 15x cubed gives me minus 19x cubed. Negative 2x squared plus 14x squared gives me a positive 12x squared. Negative 7x to the 4th comes down. 7 plus 30, this gives me a positive 37x. And then plus 15. This is almost, but not quite in standard form, so I'm going to take one more step just to write it in standard form. 2x to the 5th, and my x to the 4th term comes next. Negative 7x to the 4th, then my cube term. Minus 19x cubed, and then a squared term, if I've got one, plus 12x squared. And plus 37x is next. Plus 15 out there on the end. And there it is. There's my result of P1 times P3. Now you're going to notice something interesting, that the number of terms in the first polynomial times the number of terms in the second polynomial will give you the number of terms that you start out with. You may not end up with that many terms. In the end, sometimes things cancel each other out, or they add up to 0 is another way to say that. But it looks like in this case we ended up with 6 terms in the end. So we did have some things add up. In the beginning, you can see that we have 9 terms, and that's how we started out. And so I could have ended up with a 9-term polynomial, but in this case didn't. Okay, stay tuned for some more videos. We've got division, we've got some other things coming up.